Play it to Dom. He's been out since 7 in the morning.
Can't pay that vest fucking early, bro.
I'm fine. I will not fuck up. I promise.
The basic plan is don't miss. I'll force you to make the mistakes and you'll lose your head, and that's about it. Really easy.
What's your plan, Joey?
Do my best, bro.
What's our strategy?
We're not going to miss a single shot today. We're not going to miss a single shot. We're going to hit.
This is a 4.2 rating.
Sounds like some free elo to me.
We've got a
free elo over here. I think we'll pass to Hamza more than anyone else.
All the ratings are fake.
Put the pressure on him.
The ratings are fake, man. They're not real.
He'll crumble. We just keep playing at him. He'll crumble. I believe.
Okay, so as you might be able to tell, these are some of my friends, right? This is not a open match with random / semi-random people that you normally see me playing. These are people that I've known for quite a long time, right? And we are all from the sport of powerlifting, right? The same sport that I introduced kind of at the start of this series a little bit. So this is a slightly immobile game, to say the least, right? There isn't anyone here that's going to be getting about super fast, but as you also probably saw from our strategy talk here, the teams are fairly even, right? Myself and Dom both around that 3 mark, and Hamza and Joey a little bit different. Hamza more like a 4 and Joey more like a 2. Hamza is actually the person that kind of got the rest of us into the sport of paddle, right? Because it is something that he became accustomed to a little bit quicker than the rest of us. He does actually have a table tennis background, which isn't the first time I've seen that in paddle. I've actually played against a couple others that have also come from a table tennis background, and I think it's pretty useful, right? Just to be quick with your hands, good on the volley, good at slicing the ball. Probably not quite as useful as something like proper tennis, but yeah, table tennis definitely has its carryover because Hamza is pretty comfortably the best player in this match. So you will see throughout this match that we do perhaps avoid him a little bit. Obviously, this is a friendly match, right? We are all here to have fun, so we're definitely not employing a fridge throughout this. But when we need a game or two, the ball does tend to change direction a little bit, let's say that. That being said, this is a very close match, right? This is a super competitive one, as you can probably see from the length of this video. There's some quite long rallies. We play quite a few games here as well. Nothing is a sort of sweep by any means. So as I mentioned previously as well, Joey does actually have the whole Souk's range of rackets here. So Hamza is trying out the new Diablo, I believe, the 2026 one. So I actually have Hamza's 2025 Diablo in this video, right? As I mentioned before, I really wanted to try out a more control-based racket, right? My Babolat is nice. It's definitely served me well, but I think it is a bit hard to use, right? For someone of my level, is so focused on the power, and it's quite difficult to control, particularly at the back when I need to defend. So I thought I'd give something like this a go, right? This racket, straight away, the first thing I noticed about it is that it's much softer, right? The ball trampolines off it. It's a completely different feeling on basically every shot. Plus it's obviously lower balance, right? So it is a little bit more comfortable in the hand, a little bit easier to control on anything that's not overhead, to be honest. And I didn't feel as though all my power went missing on the overheads anyway. I don't think it's something that I hit a whole lot of in this match, where I'm still sort of working on that. I think the Bandekas are getting better. I get fed quite a lot of those this match. I think Hamza and Joey might have been trying to tire me out and or just waiting for my mistakes. Huge smash from Joey there, by the way. We both stood there because neither of us expected that, right? This is something that Joey has decided to add to his game over the last few weeks, I think, is suddenly being able to hit the ball much harder than he used to. So there are a few actually in this video that catch us out, and I think we cotton onto it a little bit better towards the end of the match. We start running forward a little bit sooner, because obviously of that smash isn't going out the court or it isn't coming back to Joey's side, then it's actually a bit of a detriment to him, right? And we can get some easy shots back right up at the net. Not a bad Bandeka there. I think I am getting there with brushing around the ball, right? The racket still needs to be much higher behind my head, and I think I do need to just loosen up and let my arm sort of whip around it a little bit more. But improvement on some of the terrible ones that I've been hitting in the past. There's a Joey smash that I'm more used to. He's going to like that I've left that in. So yeah, this match is very different to sort of our normal ones because it is mismatched in a way, right? And there is sort of almost more strategy to it. As less serious as it is, we also know each other better than pretty much any of our other matches, which means we can really play to each other's strengths and certainly, probably more importantly, each other's weaknesses as well. Some of my weaknesses, I think, throughout this match is smashing the ball into the net. I'm going to blame the racket. I think I wasn't quite used to it, and I was trying to sort of put a little bit too much power into the ball, and it was just coming down so hard. Definitely nothing to do with the fact that my technique just isn't good enough. But yeah, I think that's something that will improve as I use this sort of racket more often, right? As I already mentioned, I have purchased a Nossa racket, which is very, very similar to this one. See, terrible shot, just stroking it into the net there. But already getting more used to that and definitely kind of benefiting from the control. And similarly, Hamza, this match is using a harder racket, right? It's pretty similar to this one, obviously being the same make, but the 2026 version is just a lot harder, right? So you'll notice that he's able to hit the ball pretty damn hard, right? We do give him a few easy smashes this game, and it does comfortably come back to his side of the court, right? We kind of knew that was something to avoid, and in these first few games, that is pretty much the only strategy that myself and Dom tried to employ, was just don't give Hamza anything too easy above his head, because we probably won't be able to deal with it. The rest was just trying to move them around, right? Generally be smart with where we're putting the ball, try and play on the same person for a few shots to move them around, which I think we did fairly well, right? You can see Hamza's moving around a lot here, unfortunately getting it back pretty much every time so that I can smash it into the net. And yeah, for all, we were getting a little bit worried because we have done this match, right? This kind of exact fixture or pretty close to it amongst our group of friends. There's the ball coming back to Hamza's side. We've done it a few times, and Hamza and Joey are yet to win. So, or actually no, I think they might have won the first ever time, but the record is getting rough for them. So we weren't expecting this first set to look as bleak as it is, because yeah, these smashes from Joey were the big thing that were catching us out, right? We weren't expecting to have to run so much to come and collect those. So 5-4 up, I'm missing a terrible shot there. We're getting a little bit worried, thinking, oh, we're going to have to take this to 3 sets if we run out of time here. And yeah, Hamza and Joey were just playing more aggressive, I think, than they had previously, right? In these sort of level games are normally a case of who makes more mistakes, but I think as we all get better, it does become a little bit more of a game of who can put some more power on the ball, right, and who can actually finish the point. You can see there I've kind of fluffed my smash and managed to finish that point off purely based on the fact that it was an awkward angle. I think the lobs today were good, right? I think lobbing is something that I'm pretty damn comfortable with now, having just played enough games, right, and got the racket under it enough times. I think it's probably the most important shot in most matches. As you can see, they take the first set there. As you might be able to tell from the time in the video, this is going to go on for a while. Very nice sort of Chiquita off the back glass there from Joey as well. I don't know if he actually wanted that to go so perfectly down to Dom's feet, but I'll give it to him anyway. And yeah, moving me around a little bit at the back for some of the rallies later in this match. I'm actually going to try and shut up for those so that you can sit back and watch, because there are a few good ones where we do actually play each other around across the court, right? I think that's something that comes with practice, right? Is most of my shots I'm just aiming to play the right shot, and I'm really struggling to sort of move my opponent up and down, and I'm normally looking for kind of the angle down by the side of them, but I think general advice is much better to move the opponent back and forth, right, because it's a harder thing for them to do, and the court is longer rather than it is wider, right? It's a pretty tough point for them there. Received that smash, almost went out of the court and rolled it over the net to make sure that they couldn't get it back. But yeah, because there's only one player running up and down the court, they essentially have to cover the whole 10 meters of their side, but there's obviously two players running horizontally across the court, so they only have to cover the 5 meters. So passing someone up down by their side is quite a lot harder than just moving them back and forth with things like a lob into a Chiquita or into a drop shot, which I think we did better this match, right? We obviously weren't perfect, and there's some tough ones here where the ball seems to be coming down to our feet a lot. We're probably given a little bit too much room for that, but I think we improved, right? I think what I'm hoping for when I look back on this series in 12 months' time is that the quality of the matches has improved, even if it doesn't mean winning 100% of them, as you can see there. A bit of a frustrating point. Right, another smash from Joey that we weren't really expecting. Oh, we won't look at that one. Get a little bit of a smash of my own. Really should just be able to bring that back to my side. I think I'm still far too front on, and not really letting my arm loosen up and just swing through the ball hard there, which I'm sure is something that I'll get better at. I can feel it sort of happening throughout some of the longer matches where I really get to practice the overheads. I think getting something like a series of coaching, and maybe putting that on this channel would be super helpful, because like I said in one of the previous videos, I think an hour worth of coaching, you're going to be hitting way more balls than you would throughout a 90-minute match, and obviously they're all controlled, they're all targeted towards the same type of shot, which is going to be super beneficial for that one shot. Whereas obviously in a match like this, everything's varied. You don't really get to practice any one thing too consistently, and I think loosening up and generally sort of putting more power into the overheads is going to be important for me, because I don't feel too uncomfortable, right, getting the ball back in a match like this, right, and keeping the rally going and moving the opponents around a little bit, but having the ability to actually finish the point off, right, is useful for getting points through that, but also putting pressure on the opponents to not play bad shots, right? I think if you have weapons on your side and all of a sudden a short-ish lob from them becomes a really poor shot, then they're going to be more afraid to play that. Perhaps they play more ground strokes, more regular sort of low shots to the volleys, and then you can apply more pressure, and it's all sort of compounds, right, to the opponent struggling more and your position in the game being better. So that is something that I want to try and add, because I think especially playing with Dom mostly, and we're going to be playing in the league soon, that's what both of us need the most, right? It is sort of a bigger weapon, right, to put more pressure on the opponent, which is what Hamza has, right? I think that's one of the big things that he has here, which is why he's the best player on the court, really, is because we are worried about giving him that. And when we do, he's pretty consistent at hitting it hard, right, and finishing the point off. Obviously, he's good at getting the ball back and generally being in control like that, right? He's blocked my smash there and managed to get them up to the net, but I think the biggest sort of factor that he brings to his and Joey's side is being able to finish the point off better than all of us. And like I say, with this sort of level of match, consistency probably still is king, right? Even at Hamza's level, if someone is not missing, then they're probably going to win, right? You can see here we're getting a few cheek points with the ball going into the net. Apologies with this camera angle as well. I'm kind of noticing it as I talk. I'm becoming more and more focused on the sofas that are seemingly on the ground, that are obviously from the reflection of the glass here at Pure Padel. It is a pretty compact venue, right? There isn't really any space outside of the courts and this sofa section directly behind it, so there's definitely an advantage to playing on one side, and we could have potentially done the sort of professional style of swapping every few games rather than every set, just to sort of mitigate that advantage a little bit, because this side that I am currently playing on is definitely the worst side, right, to play on this court, because you're essentially watching everyone come in and out of their courts and go to the bar and go and watch you for a little bit. This is almost court one, main sort of court, right, because this is the one that has the viewing section, and it can be a little bit off-putting when a small crowd sort of convenes, even though they're almost definitely not watching with much sort of intent. There's enough sort of eyes on you to put you off sometimes. But yeah, we can't use that as an excuse, because obviously we need this set here to stay in the match, and we would like to get the other set as well when Hamza and Joey are on the other side, so we should have an advantage there. As you can see, some of the rally's getting a little bit longer, right? Joey's not able to sort of smash the ball straight past us anymore, because we have learnt that he can now do that. So we're trying to play a little bit smarter here, right? Keeping the ball down. I think we're getting over the ball a little bit better. And yeah, 4-3 up. We feel pretty confident in this set, right? I think we've got a groove going, and I think we've also noticed since playing probably for the last few months now, again, because we're from a powerlifting background, which is essentially just lifting heavy weights and then sitting down. We have gotten quite a lot fitter, right? The padel is a pretty brilliant way to get fit, because it's not as monotonous as something like running or cycling, right? You're obviously so focused on the task at hand, and you've got something to do throughout the 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is that you're playing or training for. So you don't really notice how much fitter you're actually getting until you kind of acknowledge that previously you might have been gassing out. Whereas here, we played for the full 90 minutes really. I think these highlights are cut up from the entire sort of booking. I don't think we had more than really 5 minutes worth of extra on top of this match. And I don't think any of us were particularly tired, right? I think that fitness is becoming less of a factor, which is kind of nice to have, I suppose, from a sport that we've all gotten into purely for a bit of fun. So it'll help us live a little bit longer, right? We're getting a few points here from Joey putting it into the glass, or into the net and then into the glass there. So we took that set. Just a few kind of unforced errors, right, in terms of us getting the ball back and waiting for that to come. I think for myself, it tends to take me a little while to warm up into that, and I give a little few too many unforced errors at the start of matches. But now that we're in the third set, I think that will happen a lot less. And I think Dom's pretty much the same, right? The only time that we will bring out an unforced error is if we're going for way too much, which we don't feel like we need to, he says, smashing the ball into the net in the first game. But yeah, we're in a much better position here. We did feel like some of the glass, I don't know if you see that ball sliding down the glass a little bit there. We thought it was a bit slippery, right? This venue is very cold and a little bit damp, right? It's not the sort of premium venues like your Just Paddle in Derby that I've been filming at previously, right? This venue was put up pretty quickly, and I think some of the sort of niceties of your more expensive venues aren't really in it, right? So the glass does get quite a lot of condensation on it, and the ball tends to slip off it like that, right? If there's a really slow shot that's coming down onto the back glass. So a little bit tough one for Hamza to get back there, but a good strategy as well, right? I think all the top players tend to say that you need to adapt to the conditions that you're playing in. You need to play really high lobs if it's sunny so that your opponent can't see it, for example. And I think here, if it's a bit cold and a bit wet, then yeah, playing some slow shots to the black glass or to the side glass is probably better than trying to put the racket straight through it, right? You can see there's a bit of a slow one. I don't know if the glass really made much of a difference there, but just making sure that the ball dies in an awkward area seems to be working for us pretty well here, and that kind of plays into mine and Dom's games anyway, because like I mentioned, we haven't got the sort of big weapons of smashing the ball out and getting the point done with, which I think is something Hamza's going to do to us in a couple of the points coming up here. Really close. I really thought I was in the flow of defending there. Yeah, there's another ball coming back to that side. But I just put that one into the glass. I'm really sometimes too focused on playing a Chiquita and being really cute with it, sort of dying beyond the net, and then obviously it dies right at the top of the net instead, and I lose the point. But yeah, these rallies are some of the better ones coming up, I think, when we both realise that these are sort of the crunch time games and we really need to win these. The ball starts flying at myself and Dom quite a lot here. But I was pretty happy with this point where I've stepped in, moved them around quite a lot and taken the little game there. And as you can see, these rallies are also going to be quite long, so I'm going to leave you to watch a few of these. Can see Hamza putting away pretty much every smash that's easy for him there. We didn't give him many. I think we quite literally did only give him 3 easy lobs, which are the 3 that you've seen get smashed back to his side in this match. So I suppose that really is kind of a combination of having the ability to do something but also being consistent with it, right? I don't think it's just a case of consistently playing easy shots. To really get to a good level, you have to consistently play the hard ones as well, right? Like that. Dom was not ready for that whatsoever. But yeah, 3-4 here, right? We went 4-2 down. We got a little bit worried, but I think we still felt as though we could employ our strategy right towards the end of this match to try and get it over the line, because I think a few of us were starting to fatigue a little bit. I don't think we were necessarily running out of fitness, but one thing I noticed for myself, and I think quite a lot of the other sort of gym bros out there notice, is that the shoulder is probably the first thing to go, right? If you are regularly pushing a lot of weight with the upper body, that shoulder joint is getting stressed, right, pretty much every day. And paddle is not a particularly stressful sport on the body, right? I think you can probably play for years and years and be relatively injury free as long as you make sure to train properly and warm up. But the shoulder really is something that needs looking after, because there's a small joint, right? It's a delicate joint, and we're whipping the shoulder around hundreds and hundreds of times per match here. So I was certainly feeling it a little bit towards the end of this match, and I know that Joey was kind of feeling the shoulder and potentially the legs as well, right? It's not moving quite as much there, so he's given us that one, just playing it straight back to his body. Something that I'm trying to do a little bit more often in defence now. I've not really considered it much until recently. I was actually playing against someone a lot more experienced than myself, and she mentioned that her main strategy was to hit the ball hard at the body, because it's much more difficult to put any effect on the ball or to really play anything dangerous if it's flying at your body. So something to think about there, because that did give us a free point. And yeah, as you can see, a little bit of an anticlimactic end to the match there, but that brings us up to 6-4, 2-1 to myself and Dom. So another victory in our El Clasico style of games here. And yeah, we did feel as though we could have played a little bit better at the beginning, but we got it done, and I'm sure you'll see this fixture on this channel again.